No, see, something happened to me that just hearing you talk about it tonight, it's important to me that I'm not bananas. I'm a fairly straight, down the line person, working. I had a good job at DCU. I'd gone back to work after having my daughter, Neve. My husband teaches engineering at DCU, and we had Neve in 1988, and I went back to work when she was 5, when she started school. And we'd leave her with Daniel's parents, my husband's parents, and his mother always picked her up from school, and I'd collect her after work. And last year, she was dying to learn how to swim. And the school had a thing. They'd take the class down to the CRC in Clontarf on Wednesdays. And she was learning very well. No problem. Loved the water. She couldn't wait for Wednesdays and swimming. Daniel used to take her to the pool on Saturdays and everything. But for such a bright, outgoing, happy girl, she was a big... she had a problem sleeping at night. She was afraid of the dark. One of us would have to stay with her until she went off, and even when she did, she'd often have to come in and sleep with us. And I'd say to her, "What's wrong when you go to bed?" But in the daytime, she wouldn't care. Nighttime was a million miles away and she wouldn't think about it. But at night, there were people in the window. There were people in the attic. There was someone coming up the stairs. There were children knocking in the walls. And there was always a man who she'd see standing across the road. Just loads of things. The poor. I wanted to bring her to the doctor, but Daniel said she'd grow out of it, and we should be careful just about books we got her and what she saw on the telly and all of this. But I mean, she used to even be scared that when she got up in the morning, that Mommy and Daddy would have been gone away, and she'd be in the house on her own. That was when she told Daniel's mother. And that all the furniture and carpets and everything would be gone. I mean, So I told her after that, we'd never, it was ridiculous, and that if she was ever scared at all during the day, just to ring me, and I'd come and get her, and there was nothing to worry about. And she knew our number. She was very good at learning numbers off and everything. She knew ours, and she knew her nana's, and she knew mine at work. She knew them all. But then in March last year, the school had a sponsored swim, and the kids were going to swim the length of the pool. And I promised I was going to be there in time to watch her, but I was late out of work, and I was only going to be in time to meet her afterwards. And when I got there, I saw that there was an ambulance. And I thought, the pool is in the Central Remedial Clinic, so I thought, it must just be someone being dropped there. I didn't really pay any attention. But when I got in, I saw that there was no one in the pool. And a teacher was standing there with a group of kids, and she was crying, and some of the children were crying. And this woman came over, another one of the moms, and she said there'd been an accident, and Neve had hit her head, and she'd been in the water, and they were trying to resuscitate her. And I didn't really think it was happening. I thought it must have been someone else. And I was brought into a room, and Neve was on a table. It was a table for table tennis. And an ambulance man was giving her the kiss of life. She was in her bathing suit, and ambulance man said that he didn't think what he was doing was working, and he wasn't sure if she was alive. And he picked her up and wrapped her in a towel and carried her out to the ambulance. And he got in the back and radioed on ahead. They were going to put her on a machine in Beaumont and try to revive her there. But the ambulance man knew, I think. She wasn't breathing, and he just knew. And he said if I wanted to say goodbye to her in the ambulance in case I didn't get a chance at the hospital. And I gave her a little hug. And I told her Mommy loved her very much. She just looked asleep, but her lips had gone blue, and she was dead. And it happened so fast, just a few minutes. And I don't think I have to tell you how hard it was between me and Daniel as well. I mean, at the funeral, I just thought I could go and lift her out of the coffin, and that would be the end of all this. I think Daniel was... I don't know if he actually blamed me. There was nothing I could do. But he became very busy in his work, just keeping himself. But I was more... I really didn't know what I was doing. I was just walking around, wanting to... sitting in the kitchen, Daniel's mother fussing around the place. Just months of this. Not really talking about it like. But then I was in bed. Daniel had gone to work and the phone started to ring. And I just left it. I wasn't going to get it. But it rang for a long time, and eventually it stopped, and then it started ringing again for a long time. So I thought it must be Daniel trying to get me. So I went downstairs and I answered it, and the line was very faint. It was like a crossed line. There were voices, but I couldn't hear what they were saying. And then I heard Neve. And she said, Mommy. And I just said, you know, yes. And she said that she wanted me to come and collect her. And I wasn't sure whether this was a dream or her leaving us had been a dream. I just said, where are you? And she said that she thought she was at Nana's, but that Nana wasn't there. And she was scared. There were children knocking in the walls, and the man was standing across the road, and he was looking up, and he was going to cross the road, and would I come and get her? And I said I would, of course I would. And I dropped the phone, and I ran out to the car in just the t-shirt I slept in, and I drove to Daniel's mother's house. And I could hardly see, I was crying so much. I mean, I knew she wasn't going to be there. I knew she was gone. But just to think that wherever she was, that... And there was nothing I could do about it. Daniel's mother got a doctor, and I slept for a day or two. what it was. See, Daniel felt that I needed to face up to Neve being gone. But I just thought that he needed to face up to what happened to me. He was insisting I get treatment, and then everything would be okay. What can help that? If she's out there, she still needs me.
You don't think it could have been a dream you were having? No?
I heard her